A religious school in Florida is purging its LGBTQIA plus students from their campus. Now, the Grace Christian School in Valrico, Florida, which is a private school, has sent an email to parents, which has been obtained by NBC News, announcing a complete rejection of non-heterosexual Christians. So they're just getting rid of everyone who isn't a heterosexual Christian. So now the email was written and sent by Minister Barry McKean. Now, the June 6th correspondence to the parents cited Scripture and said that students would be referred to by the gender on their birth certificates during the school year beginning this month. While the email refers to biological gender, the National Institute of Health defines gender as a social construct as opposed to sex, which is a biological difference between males and females. So now what's interesting is I see these arguments all the time. They can't seem to define, though, in their arguments, the difference between sex and gender. Which is funny because, again, they accuse the left of redefining words. No, we're not redefining words. We're using them in the proper context. Yes, gender expression is a social construct. Gender identity is a social construct. Sex is biological. Now, that said, let's go to the email. It reads this. We believe that God created mankind in his image, male, man, and female, woman. Did they really have to, okay, get into the details about that? But okay. They created them sexually different, but with equal dignity. Really? Really? So then why does the focus on transitioning to a woman seem to offend people if they're supposedly equal? Then what would be wrong? And I say that because you look at, things like Tucker Carlson, Matt Walsh, and they all talk about the feminization of men. Oh, men aren't men anymore. Men are becoming too feminine. Wait, so wait, if God, created man and women sexually different but with equal dignity, then why is it less dignifying for a man to transition into a woman? That doesn't make sense to me. They're not consistent. So, look. Okay, more. That I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Therefore, one's biological sex, they write, must be affirmed and no attempt should be made to physically change, alter, or disagree. Can't disagree with one's biological gender, including but not limited to elective sex reassignment, transvestite, transgender, or non-binary gender fluid acts of conduct. That is strangely specific. What does that mean? Like girls can't wear pants? You are only allowed to wear dresses or skirts because, pants are for men. And men, no skirts, no dresses. No, wait, tank tops? Is that it? Because both girls and boys wear tank tops? Are they male or female? Or are they unisex? Hold on. What are even the rules here? What about the kilts? Those look a lot like skirts. All of this policing of what you can and cannot wear to express yourself is pretty ridiculous. But there's more, of course. They said, we believe that any form of homosexuality, lesbianism, bisexuality, transgender identity and lifestyle, self-identification, and then they lump this in, bestiality, incest, fornication, adultery, and pornography are sinful in the sight of God and the church. Students who are found participating in these lifestyles will be asked to leave the school immediately. So they lump all that ridiculousness in together, implying that they're all the same. You're just going to casually slip in bestiality and incest along with porn and being gay. What? Okay, it's ridiculous. Now, McKean then told NBC News in response, because they reached out and they said, hey, we got this email. It seems pretty hateful. Here's what his response was. It is true that a student cannot come to our school and be transgender or homosexual. This is rooted in the scriptures. God has spoken on those issues explicitly, aggressively, And we have had these policies in our school since day number one in the early 1970s. This is not new. Okay. And that still doesn't make it right. And by the way, where did God say that you can't be transgender? Where in the Bible is that? Somebody please pull up a verse where it says specifically that you cannot be a transgender person. Can anyone do that? Can anyone find it where, here's where the Bible, okay. So, something 261 or whatever. God, thou shalt not be transgender. What? No, it doesn't exist. You can't find it. The closest they have is this. Deuteronomy 22:5, which says, a woman must not wear men's clothing, nor a man wear woman's clothing, for the Lord your God detests anyone who does this. Well, that's not what it means to be transgender. Transgenderism isn't just playing dress up. And besides, what's funny is back in the days of Jesus, didn't everyone just wear robes? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fashion expert, I'm not a fashionista, but didn't everyone wear robes back then? Was there much difference between women's and men's fashion? I don't think there was. But no, they don't care. Banned. Not allowed. But get this, right? He said afterwards, we are not a hateful group of people. We don't hate students who are of a particular persuasion. Oh, we don't hate them. We don't hate them. We just think that they're going to hell and that we don't want them and their horrible taint anywhere near us because we're afraid that their sin will spread and make us go to hell too. That's a wonderful Christian compassion right there. But in reality, that's not even Christianity. That's all Old Testament stuff. But anyway, that email prompted at least one family of a 16-year-old girl who happens to be gay to leave the school. That teen said she felt like a social outcast there and went to a new religious school that happens to be more accepting. She says, at the new school, I feel normal. Now, look, that's important because some of you are probably asking, hey, why would anybody who's gay or trans want to go to a Christian school? Well, why not? You can be gay and religious. You can be trans and religious. The Bible says, at least the New Testament says very little or nothing against gay and trans people. Again, all Old Testament stuff, which there are people that have cherry-picked that out in order to fuel their own personal biases. Again, if you want to, cherry-pick things out, well, I can go and say, well, hey, look, you can't eat at Red Lobster because of shellfish. Shellfish is unclean. So says the Bible. So you better put down that crab. Oh, that lobster, you're going to hell. Why are you not out there picketing outside of Red Lobster? Oh, what about the, polyester and cotton blend pants? You can't wear those. Why are you not out there picketing against the Gap? No, what they're doing is that they're, picking and choosing what they actually care about. Whereas, again, if you actually pay attention, Jesus started the New Testament with an absolution of all the sins. And so there's no real big focus on that. No, what this is that McKean is just a hateful person and just wants to use the Bible to promote his own hatred. In fact, there's one 18-year-old transgender man who graduated from this school. And he said this, while no email like the one in June was ever sent while I was at the school, it was well known that any students in the LGBTQ community had to keep it secret. It was not something I could be open about. Only a select few of my friends could ever know about it. He said of his gender identity, sometimes we couldn't even know if we could trust people in our friend group because we didn't know anybody would say anything to faculty. He noted that some students were uncomfortable with LGBTQ students due to the faculty's influence. And I think that's really important. Okay. Now, McKean, for example, speaking of the faculty, he would randomly yell about how if you're gay, you're going to hell. She said McKean told students it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and that he said he knew there were LGBT people at Grace Christian, and if he found out who they were going to be kicked out. 2 other former students corroborated this account of McKean's chapel hour comments. McKean, however, in a video statement, said, "Oh, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say anything like that. Oh, no. I can assure you, I did not say that. That is fabricated. If a student feels I implied that, well, then they're relying on their own ability to assess. I did not utter those words." No, that's gaslighting. This guy's a lunatic. Just an incredibly hateful person who is sitting there and he's lying about these things. Total bullshit. Now, the woman who asked to remain anonymous because of potential harassment said the school's perspective didn't hurt her. There's another woman, transgender woman. But that was not the case for every student in the LGBTQ community who attended the school. One of my friends who is closeted, she gets very hurt by it and very scared. She said she has very bad anxiety about it. The graduate said that when the topic was addressed, her friend would go into the bathroom and cry. So look, this is real consequences for mental health. Okay. And by the way, a quick correction. The woman, I incorrectly called her transgender. She's actually just gay. Okay. But like I said, real consequences. Hate and harassment leads people to not only be harassed and have to deal with that, of course, but it also, more importantly, creates to others the impression that it's okay to treat LGBTQ people like this. They will go into the world holding these beliefs and these horrible prejudices and use them against others. And that's the real problem here. Now, of course, since this is a private school, there's really nothing that can be done about it. And so what we have are, at this point, privately run hate factories that are able to discriminate as much as they want because of their status as a private school. I think all private schools should be eliminated. Why? Because that would actually make public schools better. If everybody was forced to go into the public school system, that system would be funded. That system would be funded very, very well. It works in other countries. And you wouldn't have this stuff. And so that's just my suggestion. As for, again, what can happen to this school? Well, nothing. So they're just going to be able to continue to rail against gay people and to kick them out. Of course, you'll never get all of them because gay people will always be there. They will always exist. And some will be forced into these schools by their parents who may not know their identity or their orientation. And so they'll continue to be exposed to this hateful rhetoric and these terrible ideas. And there's really nothing that we can do.